Hello, welcome to a Soulprint Mini. This one's going to be about Steve Bannon. And the reason for it is that we all know that he now has to start serving his 4-month prison sentence July 1st, which is going to take him, to getting out of prison November 1st, more or less, which is a couple days before the election for. So that silences him, his war room broadcast. I mean, I'm sure other people are going to try to step in, but I'm not sure that any of them are quite of the caliber as this guy is when it comes to misinformation, bombastic behavior, and just his own sort of agenda, which is just like burn everything down. So I want to take a look at him. Now, what prompted it, aside from that, is the fact I heard it, and I wish I could tell you where, and I can't. So, but I heard that he made the comment of, well, what makes him so sure I'm going to surrender? So let's take a look at Steve Bannon and see what's going on with him. One quick note. One of my amazing subscribers and viewers sent a recommendation in to take a look at an astrologer. She's out of the UK, and her YouTube channel is called The Introverted Astrologer. Now, she is a little bit more into the details, but her reading on Trump was very, very interesting. So you might want to just take a gander over there and check her out also. Thank you everybody for sending in your astrologer recommendations. I'm forever looking for somebody who is short on details, long on analysis, I guess, is the magic formula that I'm looking for. All right. Steve Bannon. What, pray tell, is going to happen with good old Steve? Take a little jump. Here we go. Bannon jail. Bannon jail. Bannon jail. Let's see where we go. Okay, so he's starting off with kind of some really interesting cards. He's starting off with the Magician and the Six of Cups. So this is the thing, right? The Magician is often about having tools at your disposal, right? Having all the tools at your disposal to accomplish what you need. It can also be about sort of serendipity, right? Sort of magical events, things that happen, right? And Six of Cups, this is just always like a time before, right? It tends to go back to a previous time, your memories, your thoughts, that kind of thing. Very often it can actually take you even back, to childhood memories and that kind of thing. Followed by the Lovers. So what are these three cards telling me? It's kind of an interesting story they're telling me, because they're talking about the fact that when he partnered with Trump, it gave him the tools that he needed to try to accomplish what really has been sort of like a lifelong dream. Well, maybe not lifelong, but certainly in his adulthood. He really he wants to sort of create this sort of whole, I don't know, like new world order, right? Everything that is, institutionalized and fundamental, he just seems to want to burn it down. And because of the Six of Cups cards, I have to wonder how long this has sort of been going back. And if this is not in some way an attitude or a belief structure that is sort of fundamental to who he is. This doesn't feel like Trump is transactional, right? He's like, this is what I want. You tell me what you want me to believe or do or say, and then you give me what I want. And I don't really care. Like, I don't care, right? Oil companies, give me $1 billion and I'll get rid of all of your regulations. I mean, that's sort of the Trump mentality. Biden, I don't think so. I think for Biden, this is more fundamental sort of to who he is. And in some way that um I was going to say that makes him more dangerous than Trump. It certainly makes him more determined, more focused. You know, all of us need to not lose sight of the fact that Republicans, they have very, very long-term agendas, right? It's not about this election. It's about 5 elections from now. That is how they created the damage and the chaos that they have done, right? They have worked for really decades to get rid of Roe v. Wade, right? And now they're going after, birth control. They they can plot for a very, very long time, where Democrats tend to be a little bit more of the moment, which is why Democrats react and respond better to what society wants and how society is reacting and how society views things, because they're kind of in the now, whereas Democrats or Republicans are just always like, how do we get to that long-term goal where ultimately we can, turn the entire country into our version of what we want, which is, white Christian nationalism, right? So in some ways, Bannon, it's more entrenched with him. So what was happening is that with Trump, they're just moving along, right? They were zipping along. And then he sort of got up to some shenanigans. So this is the "we build the wall" fiasco. This is that kind of energy. And of course, that got him in big trouble. But what happened? Trump. But either way, it created a tower moment in his life. And one of the things that he sort of resigned himself to, if you will, was that the partnership that he created with Trump to accomplish his goals, not Trump's goals, but Bannon's goals, in some ways that put more of a spotlight on him. I mean, don't get me wrong, he loved the spotlight. He loves that, that energy and focus on him. But it also caused problems, right? Because he he created the notice of maybe people who he might have gone under the radar of. Hang on, my dog's barking. God bless him. He thinks he's a guard dog. What can I say? So when that happened, it created for him kind of a lot of problems, right? Now, in some ways, the least of which was the whole, ignoring the J6 committee subpoena, right? That was just plain arrogance on his part. That was, I'm going to do things my way, and who's going to make me do something otherwise? I have the protection of Trump. Except he didn't, because Trump didn't actually, save his butt. Now, he was able to go through that court case, the one that's sending him to jail. And in many ways, he was able to accomplish that delay, right? That I'm going to stay out of jail until I'm going to appeal this, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I don't know. Can he appeal it higher up? And will he? I suppose it's possible. I would not be surprised at all if that wasn't something that options were getting weighed, right? But I somehow, even if he tries to, it's not going to win. Okay, it's not going to get him anywhere. And I think slowly but surely he's starting to realize that. He's starting to realize that all of his dreams and his illusions of how grand life is going to be for him have given way to sort of this like crap, I'm really in trouble, and where do I go from here? So he's doing his level best with his community, the people who watch the war room and listen to him, whatever else, to keep up a very a front full of bravado, and I'm tough, and you're not going to make me do anything I don't want. But in actual fact, he realizes for sure that he is trapped. He's stumped. He's not going anywhere. He's stuck. Those bars literally in the Seven of Swords are his jail. He can't see his way clear. His arm, he's tied up now. And he's starting to recognize that he really is in a place where things are not going to go quite so well for him. He went up against the judiciary. He went up against those higher institutions of the land, and he found that they were actually stronger than him. He found that they weren't going to put up with his crap. So that's what the cards are telling us. He's gonna, he's gonna keep working. He's gonna do everything he can to create this sort of communication that he's a winner, and this is all working for him, and he's going to keep doing what he nothing, what did he say? Nothing's going to shut me up. If you think bars are going to shut me up, sort of basically, you're wrong. I paraphrase. So he plans, make no mistake, he plans on continuing to do the work, and in part because it brings him two things that are important to him. It brings him that notoriety, that people are listening to me. My words are important. And also, to whatever degree, it's bringing him assets, whether it is money, whether it is, support, whatever it is. He's going to keep on pretending he's a winner. Unfortunately, he appears to be suffering from delusion. All right, we've got the Seven of Cups here. I mean, he's just sort of now in his own world. So that's the cards. Let me take a quick peek into his energy and see how he's actually doing right now and what that looks like, kind of going forward. All right. He is, it's an interesting energy because I think on some levels he recognized that he was not likely to win this appeal. It brought him a delay, but realistically, I think he recognized, particularly when what's that other guy, Navarro? I'm not pronouncing that right, but the other guy that's in jail for the same thing. Once he got put into jail, and then he tried to get his term shortened because it was like really hard because he's old, and the courts went, yeah, too bad. At that point, I think Bannon really started to realize, wait a minute, this isn't likely to go in my favor. So on the one hand, there is like terror, right? Like terror. He's scared. Um, there's just sort of a sense of resignation, but there's also it's like a slow rolling anger or rage, because all this is doing is reinforcing his fundamental belief structure that the institutions need to be torn down. his fundamental belief structure that he is a white male who has been successful in America. That puts him in this class of people who should not be questioned and who certainly should not be punished. Simple as that. That's the way he thinks. And so what he's now facing is the reality that his vision of how things should be are not actually the reality of where he is and what he's doing right now. All right, I want to ask some sort of real specific questions here. Spirit, is he likely to try to flee between now and July 1? It's a consideration. He's thinking, one, about leaving the country. And I don't know for a misdemeanor if you end up surrendering your passport or not. But he's also sort of in the back of his head. He's thinking, Florida or Texas, if New York tries to extradite me, maybe those states won't. Maybe Abbott or DeSantis will just say, yeah, no, we're not going to send him back to you. So he's got these sort of scenarios kind of playing in his head. But ultimately, is he going to end up surrendering on July 1st? And that appears to be at this point a yes. His lawyers are going to have some perhaps difficult conversations with him, but they're going to let him know that that is not his best strategy. Much like Navarro, unless he files something with the court, jail really does silence him. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a really nice break to not have his energy and his attitude and his garbage spewing out into the energy of the United States. Although I have to say, as I look forward, when he comes out of jail, this is not somebody who is going to be contrite. This is not somebody who is going to have seen the error of his ways. This is somebody who is going to become more entrenched in the things that he believes in. And there is the potential for him to do something that is actually going to end up getting him into more trouble down the road. They are showing me, though, that it's very, very likely, or there's a significant chance, I'll say it that way, that when he gets out of jail, there's sort of going to be this fine. I'm going to pick up my marbles and I'm going to go. Because shortly after that, Trump's not going to win the election, right? He's not. And so he's at that point, it feels like he's sort of going to fold up his tent and try to find somewhere else to settle, find another person that he can manipulate into believing what he believes, or at the very least going along with what he believes. And so it is possible that as we look a little bit into 2025, that he may actually leave the United States. And, honestly, that's kind of a good thing, right? I'm just saying. So that's what I'm looking at when I look at Steve Bannon's energy. So yeah, definitely looks like he's going to be raging and screaming and yelling between now and July 1st. He's going to be making a lot of threats. He's going to be saying a lot of stuff. When it comes right down to it, though, he is going to report. He's going to do the full 4 months. He's going to come out, Trump is not going to win that election if Trump is even kind of on the ballot by then, and that's still kind of an up in the air thing. But ultimately, he may decide that he needs to, as I said, take his marbles and go somewhere else. So that's what I know right now about Steve Bannon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support, your lovely comments. I read every single one of them. It's just all appreciated. Oh God, and I almost forgot. Thank you to the donors. You guys are amazing. Thank you very, very much for the donations that show your continued support for this channel and the work I do on it. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye-bye.